The following program contains mature subject matter. Listener discretion is advised. Montreal's news talk leader, CJAD 800 presents Passion with sex therapist Dr. Laurie Betito. To reach Dr. Laurie, call 514-790-0991. Star Talk, a free call on Bell Mobility, and 800-491-CJAD. Now, here's Dr. Laurie.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. I'm Dr. Laurie Betito, clinical psychologist and sex therapist as well. Lines are open for you, as they are every night, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 p.m., when you're not listening to a hockey game, of course. If you have questions, you can always call in, no matter what I'm talking about. It doesn't really matter. It does matter, you can listen. But if you want to interrupt me and ask me a question off topic, you can. And actually, you wouldn't be interrupting me. You'd be just joining the program your way, which is fine. And every month, we have lots of different features. And tonight is time for our monthly feature that we call Dating Dilemmas. I'm joined every month by Frank Kermit. He is a dating coach, former seduction coach as well, of franktalks.com. He's the author of several books on the subject. And we'll talk about one particular program that he created as well, which is the topic at hand, and that is ethical issues in dating. Frank, welcome back.
Thank you, Dr. Laurie. Great to be back. Looking forward to tonight's show.
You have such a radio voice.
Oh, thank you.
When you do that, you put it on there, right? We're talking about ethical issues, and you have a program called How to Be the Ethical Seducer. To me, when I looked at that, I said, what an oxymoron, ethical seducer. When I think of seducer, I think manipulator. That's not, to me, that's not honest.
I would agree with that. Actually, when I first took on the term of seducer, I had no idea of the historical relevance associated with seducer being the manipulator, getting a woman to do something against her will. Growing up in a post-feminist era, the idea of making a woman do something she doesn't want to do, it's just not an idea that I was able to absorb.
Right.
And the seducers that I grew up watching were Pepe Le Pew and Fonzie. These, to me, were positive role models, open about their love, and they had a passion for women. That was, that's what I wanted.
Right.
So when I went onto this journey, I wanted to become the seducer. Being involved in the seduction community for a number of years, it became evident to me that a number of the people who teach in that industry are very unethical. So you're taking a bunch of young guys, inexperienced, coming into this, and they're being told, oh, it doesn't matter that she has a boyfriend or a husband, they all cheat anyway. And it encourages a lot of misogyny. So you have basically a good guy coming into this. All he really wants is have a few girlfriends, and he's being taught a lot of unethical practices.
Right.
When I decided to cut my ties to the seduction community, one of the last programs I designed was this one, How to Be the Ethical Seducer, because there is a way that you can seduce and entice and have that passionate, emotional bond with someone without having to be manipulative.
Right. Thank God. I'm glad to hear you say that. Certainly glad. And I want to find out a little bit more about that community, because I think it's important, too, that people are aware of what's out there and the dangers and the unethicalness of it all. And I want to hear from our listeners. What is something you consider unethical in relationships, besides the obvious? Cheating clearly is an unethical behavior, unless, it's an open relationship and everybody knows about it. But, then it wouldn't be cheating. Then it would be an open relationship. What's the most unethical thing someone has ever done to you, whether it's in dating or in a relationship? We have a couple of things to give away. 2 CDs. The first one is 101 Great First Dates, conversation topics, what to say. And the second one is How to Be the Ethical Seducer. So you've got Frank B. Kermit's programs right here, your chance to win them. So everybody goes into a draw, and then we'll just pick them at the end of the evening. Let's go to Chris on the line. Hi, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. So tell me about what's the most unethical thing you've ever done?
Well, that's kind of what I'm calling about.
Okay.
A lot of my friends are photographers. When I go to hang out with them, when they go to a shoot, there's all these models hanging around and stuff, and I occasionally go on dates with them. But in order to go on dates with them, they seem to only want to go out with photographers, and I'm not a photographer. So I when they ask me, are you a photographer? I say, yeah, of course. And then when we go on the date, sometime later it comes up, and I say, no, I'm not actually a photographer. And I don't know, I feel kind of wrong about that. And I was wondering, isn't it okay to lie, to get a girl to go out with you, as long as you tell her the truth, afterwards?
What I think, if I can answer you, I don't think it's right. I would hate to be lied to, and then go on the pretense of, oh yeah, go out. I'm a doctor, so I'm more desirable to you, or whatever you pick. That these women, you are figuring out. Okay, these women wanted one thing. It's like figuring out that a woman only, would only marry or would only date a rich guy. So you would lie and say, I'm a millionaire. It's manipulation. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's right. But Frank, you're the one you're the coach.
Okay, let's start off with the fact that if you lie at the beginning of a relationship, the relationship is based on a lie. When the truth comes out, there's less of a chance that it's going to last long term. Number two, if you continue to lie to women just so that they'll go out with you that first time or two, you're basically attracting someone who wanted to use you for whatever you lied about. And as a guy, you don't want to be used by women.
No.
Well, being specific here, you don't want to be used for your profession. If she's only going out with you because she thinks you're in a certain profession, she's using you and getting into the habit. This is where it's bad. You're setting up a repeating behavior pattern where you allow other people to use you to get what you want. And when you try to find an emotionally healthy relationship down the road, those repeating behavior patterns are going to come into play, and you will end up self-sabotaging.
And aren't you always going to kind of think about, okay, what does this person want to hear? And then just make up a lie. Is it gonna be something that just is gonna start coming naturally to you? You don't even feel good about it. So what are you gonna do with that?
Chris, I do have one bit of advice for you. Mm-hmm. When a girl tells you, or when you're assuming that she only wants to date you because you're a photographer, ask her the following question.
Okay.
What would dating a photographer make you feel? Find out what it is about dating a photographer that's important to her emotionally. Because if you can satisfy those emotions without being a photographer, she can still go out with you.
Oh.
All right. Okay. Chris, your name's going into our draw for one of Frank's program. I'm going to put you on hold. Don't hang up. Mike's going to take some information. All right, Chris, thanks so much for calling. Let's go to John. Hi, John.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good.
Good. So what's the most unethical thing you've ever done?
Unethical, I'd have to say it was dating one of my best friend's sisters.
Without your best friend knowing?
Yeah, without him knowing.
Ooh, but hold on. But she was fully. You see, to me, that's not. Is that really unethical vis-a-vis the person you're dating, or is it just an icky situation because it's your best friend?
Well, assuming that the girl is not a minor, and she's consenting and she wants to date him, there's nothing unethical about that. It would be unethical, however, if him and his friends basically had an understanding that. You go and play with whoever you want, but there are certain women that are off limits, and if he called his sister off limits and you still did it behind his back, you did violate his trust, if that was something you guys had talked about.
Right, but if you didn't talk about it...
Yeah, we hadn't, but my question is more specific. I wanted to ask Frank if he thinks, or what's his opinion on the ethicality of dating multiple girls at the same time.
Ooh, I love that one, because some people say, do I tell, let's say I'm dating multiple girls, do they all have to know that I'm dating other girls? Exactly. That's a good point.
When you start dating somebody, the process is, let's get to know each other. And if it turns out that the person that you're dating isn't someone that you want to see beyond, let's say, the third or fourth date, sharing intimate areas of your life is not necessary. If someone asks you direct, are you seeing other people? If it's someone who you don't plan to see, in the future, you simply say, it's not something I really want to talk about right now. I'm going to keep that private until we get to know each other better. But if it is someone that you want to continue to see long term, if you see even the potential for a future, then say, yes, actually, I'm seeing other people just as I expect you to be seeing other people.
Right.
One of the things I teach about being an ethical dater or an ethical seducer, whatever term you want to use, everyone has the right to find their soulmate without interference. And if you dating someone is stopping them from finding their soulmate, that I think is wrong. That's why I encourage people that you don't commit, you don't get exclusive until you have the proper motivation, until you know for sure that that's where you want to be. Up until that point, you're both free to see other people so that you both can find your respective soulmates.
Right. John, thanks for calling, and we'll put you in the draw as well, so don't hang up, all right? 514-790-0991. You can also text us your comment or your message at 514-800. What is the most unethical thing that someone has ever done to you or that you have ever done in dating or in a relationship? And what is something you consider unethical, besides the obvious, which would be, cheating behavior? More with dating dilemmas and my guest co-host for the evening, Frank Kermit, right here on Passion on CJAD 800.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Multiple Women Management, the 10 secret rules of a harem master. What are the written rules of multiple women management? How are the emotional needs of women addressed in a lifestyle that supports dating multiple women at the same time? Can love actually exist when dating many women at once? How does a man handle it when his lovers meet each other? What are the real risks of dating multiple women at the same time? Why does a man that wants multiple long-term partners need to be wary of the law? What is the Desperate Measures Act that even the most notorious player could use to get a woman to believe that he is ready for a serious long-term relationship? This program has those answers and more, including a brief overview of the difference between monogamy, polyamory, swinging, multiple women management, the 10 secret rules of a harem master. On sale now at franktalks.com.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's News Talk Leader, CJAD 800.
You're listening to Dating Dilemmas once a month. Frank Kermit joins me in studio, and we talk about issues relating to dating. So it's really our singles night tonight. And we usually pick an area to look at. And tonight we're looking at ethical issues in dating. In fact, Frank has put together a program called How to Be the Ethical Seducer, or you can call it the Ethical Dater, what have you. You'd be surprised at how many people do unethical things. Right?
I'm not surprised anymore. There's very little anybody can tell me now that would shock me. Unfortunately.
514-790-0991, Star Talk, star 8255 on your Bell Mobility cell phone, or you can text us at 514-800. Love to hear from you what the most unethical thing someone has ever done to you or that you've ever done to someone else. Besides the cheating, which to me is, the most obvious unethical thing you can do, of course, in a relationship. Abigail, hi.
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 Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. My name is Abigail.
Hi, Abigail.
Okay, I'm calling concerning what the person done to you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had quite a few experience in dating. I went out with a guy.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, he had so much money and this girl stole his money and all that. Only to know by the time I put my purse down and I turned around, he stole my money.
No.
And I was in shock, like...
Where'd you meet this guy?
Through a friend.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, no, this is not happening. Like, how do you tell me girls steal from you and you're the one who's stealing from people?
I can't believe... You know what? That would have never occurred to me. Like, I wouldn't think that somebody would go into my purse and steal my money.
Because first I thought I lost the money, and then I'm like, but I'm not going crazy. I looked, but I didn't know how to ask him because I felt so bad.
Well, sure. Well, you don't want to accuse somebody of,
Yeah, but then I said, I know I had the money. I didn't buy anything. because he was supposed to pay for whatever, so where is the money?
Wow. That's amazing.
So I was so shocked. I was completely shocked.
Yeah, it is shocking.
And then I had another encounter where this guy was talking about that he has friends who borrow money from him and they never pay him back and this and that. And then like a couple of months after into the dating and stuff, he called. He said, "Oh, I'm calling you because I have a favor to ask you." So I'm like, "What kind of favor could that be?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, don't tell me it's money again."
Right.
So he said, "Yeah."
Huh.
He wants to borrow some money from me. So I said, I'm not sure, but I lent him in trust that he says that he's a Christian and stuff. So I figure, okay, you fear God that much, and maybe you would give me back my money. But he paid me back, and not all of it.
Right.
And then he said, I will pay you back the rest, but until now I haven't seen the rest of it.
And you won't. And you won't, Abigail, unfortunately. You
Yeah,
know, and
so
this is manipulation to me, saying, "Oh, I'm a good Christian guy," and I mean, this is just another thing that he wants you to hear because he knows you're a trusting soul because you're a good Christian woman, you know, and good Christian people will lend the money because, you know, they feel badly and they want to help somebody in need, and so he's going to use that.
Yeah.
Wow. Frank, do you want to add to that?
Absolutely. Abigail, for future reference, when a guy starts talking about how bad the world is to him, and he presents himself as a victim, especially in those first few dates, it's a manipulation tactic.
Okay.
When a guy comes up and says, yeah, you know, the world is really hard on me, no matter what I try, everybody's against me, he is setting you up. Because what's happening in your brain is that you start thinking, wow, because he's such a victim of this, he would never do it to others. It allows you to drop your guard so that he can strike.
Okay.
So if a guy says, wow, in my life, everybody forces me to do something that I don't want to do, he's setting you up so that he is setting what I call the jerk lens. He is setting up that filter so that you would never picture him as being the type of guy to do any of those things because he presents himself as a victim of those things being done to him.
Okay.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So, Abigail, be on the lookout. You sound
Well, no,
like
I
you're
learned,
way
I
too
learned.
nice, way too trusting, and you know what? We'll put your name into our draw for one of Frank's programs, great first dates and conversation topics, and how to be the ethical seducer. And I think you might probably enjoy one of those. Thanks so much for calling. I'm going to put you on hold, okay, Abigail, so we can get information from you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Griff joins us. Hi, Griff. Do we have Griff on the line? Hello?
Hello?
Are you there? Whoops.
Hello?
Oh, there you are. Hi.
Hi. So I've actually got follow-up questions to the questions that the first two callers asked.
Okay.
So the first guy was asking about, he had the situation with the girls only going out with photographers.
Right.
Whether it was right to lie about them, lie about that. And so I've also experienced that, in my case, there are certain sort of traits or factors about myself that girls that I've met in the past may have disqualified me for right off the bat. So let's say, I don't know, ethnicity or age or religion, these almost sort of trivial surface factors that I think to myself, if she just give me a chance, I think we could be a really good fit. But they'll dismiss you right off the bat because of, you're too young or you're too old or...
Something in your appearance, in other words.
Something very superficial.
Right.
And so my question is, could you justify maybe not telling the truth about one of those factors to give her the opportunity to actually get to know you?
But what is she getting to know? Because if you're lying about one of those things and then she finds out the truth, now you've just become a liar.
Yeah, I see that point. At the same time, though, I feel like some of these criteria that you might get dismissed for, disqualified for off the bat, are not ones that would actually
matter.
Matter, yeah, in the long term.
Right. Okay.
It's very sort of almost like social constructs that I feel might interfere with the process. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, though.
Frank, what do you think?
One of the things I teach is that it's better to be rejected for who you are than to be accepted for who you're not. Because once you're accepted for someone you're not, you can't build anything long-term for that. Mm-hmm. And if you have to work that hard just to get somebody, just to convince somebody to give you a shot, you're probably setting a repeating behavior pattern for that relationship that you're always going to be trying to convince that person. Now, there's a difference between lying about something and just not sharing that information. For example, if a girl were to ask me out on a date and we're talking and she asks me a question I really don't want to answer, I'm not going to lie, but I will tell her to her face, that's something I don't think we should be talking about yet. I don't know you well enough to trust you with that yet. Let's get to know each other and see where it goes.
You don't think she would think like, ooh, what's he hiding?
She may very well think that. But that's why I follow up with, I need to get you know you better before we start sharing that kind of information. It's not about lying. So let's say it's a thing about my weight, because that's obviously my biggest handicap. If a girl asks me, hey, are you a really big guy? Are you, how much do you weigh? I will either just tell her right up front, this is how much I weigh. If you got a problem with it, we end this now. And whenever I've met a girl over the internet and we meet face to face, I always give them the chance to walk. I let them know, I say, look, this is as good as I get. Don't expect me to go to the gym and start losing weight for you. I don't even do that for me. So you're either okay with this or you're not. And if you're not, it's okay, we can part ways. To this day, no woman has ever walked away. Or I would simply say, well, let's not talk about that just yet. I want to find out about you before I start sharing those type of intimate details.
Makes sense. Griff, thanks so much for calling. I'm going to put you on hold so you get a chance to be in the draw for Frank Kermit's How to Be the Ethical Seducer, his CD course on that. 514-790-0991. Let's talk about what you consider unethical in dating relationships. That's what we're talking about on this month's Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD 800.
From Loser to Seducer is the story of Frank B. Kermit. This book marks the triumph of a nice guy over most of his inner demons. This includes going from being a loser to managing 5 lovers at the same time, his first Valentine's date with 2 women at the same time, and getting back the one that got away. Want to learn how you can change your life? Buy this book at franktalks.com.
This is Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito on Montreal's news talk leader, CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, second half of the program tonight, Dating Dilemmas. Every month, Frank Kermit joins me. He's at franktalks.com, and he's what used to be a seduction coach, more like a dating coach. He was in the whole seduction community, which I only learned about when I met Frank, what this whole seduction community actually was.
Actually, I was a seduction guru for coming up with original content, and then it was time to cut ties when...
When you got married?
No, actually, it was after that, actually.
Oh, really?
It was after that when just the number of people that I was meeting turned out to be very unethical people. I walked into this thinking everybody's going to be just like me. Basically, a decent guy who makes mistakes and just wants to get better with women, wants to build up his relationships. And that's the way I treated everybody, only to find out, no, there's some really screwed up people out there, and I just got tired of associating with people like that.
Yeah, when when it becomes slimy and sleazy, it's when you decide, no, you're a professional. I want to be a professional. You've got credentials. This just doesn't work anymore. Joey joins us. Hi, Joey.
Hi there, Laurie. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Joey. How you doing?
Good.
So, what is there anything that you've ever done that was unethical or that was done to you?
In the past, when I didn't realize what I really wanted in a girl, trying to figure out those things and trying to figure out my own boundaries, there are times I have to admit that I crossed the line, and that brings me to my question tonight.
What?
When is it a good time to tell her that you're polyamorous? In the past, what I've done is waited to the 4th or 5th date so that I could get to know her more, and she would get to like me more, so she would be more accepting to that. And I always felt that maybe I let her on a bit. So when is it a good time to let her know?
Why don't we just go back for a bit so our listeners understand we're all on the same page. So letting her know that you're polyamorous, meaning that you believe that you can have more than one relationship at the same time and love, have more than one intimate relationships, not just sexual relationships. And when do you tell somebody that that's what you're into? And so basically she could be number 3. She's not necessarily just number 1. So she could potentially be the third person that you're getting involved with when you've got 2 other people at home, let's say. Right?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Okay. So what do you do in a situation like that, Frank?
This is actually a very difficult question because it has to take into consideration if you already have a primary relationship, even if you have a marriage and being an open marriage. Now, if you have a primary relationship, if you're married, then you got to let the person that you're talking to know right from the first date, right from those first conversations, look, I'm in an open relationship here, especially if you're married. You want to make it a point to say, I'm not cheating on my wife in talking to you, or I'm not cheating on my husband in talking to you. We have an open marriage. At some point, you're going to have to meet my partner, etc., etc. When you're just dating and you don't have a primary, then it's a question of you bring it up when it's time to talk about, so what are we anyway? When that question comes up, that's when you have to bring up the fact, listen, we are still getting to know each other, and this is what I'm looking for long term. I don't know what it is you're looking for long term, but I'm not going to get in your way to meet your soulmate. You're not going to get in my way. And if we turn out to be soulmates, we'll know. And then the conversation goes to, is monogamy a potential, or are you going to be polyamorous the rest of your life? And if so, what kind of polyamory? Are we talking about, yeah, we can possibly have a primary relationship, but we need to have sex with other people? Are you looking for an emotional relationship with other people? Because polyamory isn't just hooking up and starting a larger family when we talk about.
We're not talking about polygamy necessarily, but we're talking, it could be. It could be. It could be swinging. It could be, just multiple relationships simultaneously at the same time. Personally, I think that this is a philosophical thing. In other words, it's your value. It's a core value that you hold. If you are polyamorous, at least from what I know of the polyamory community, this is something that is important to you. And when it's something that's that important and that life-defining in a way, I think it should be said very, very soon. Personally, 4 dates, if the person is really, really into you, in 4 dates, they could potentially, fall at least in lust with you, and not knowing that could be hurtful to them, I think. That's my opinion. I would want to know earlier than 4 dates.
In my experience, when I started in all of this and I was doing what's called multiple women management, dating many, I know it sounds...
Multiple women management, Frank?
Yes, I know.
Give me a break.
Hey, you knew I was a bad boy when you brought me on the show.
Multiple women management.
I actually have.
I love that.
I have a Sue CD product on multiple women management. It's a part of my seduction collection.
Oh.
The rule was, I'm getting to know these women, whether we start a sexual relationship or not. I'm not going to bring up what we are until she brings it up. Because if she's not bringing it up, chances are she's kind of happy with it being as casual as I was.
Okay.
So I'm not putting any expectation on her. I'm not coming in saying, by the way, I got to give you this disclaimer right from the get-go. I tried that sometimes, and the girl would turn to me and say, Guy, you're getting really too serious with me. You're creeping me out. I kind of like the casual element of this.
Okay.
And of course, then I would scare her off trying to be a good guy.
And trying to be too honest. Or not too honest, but too open, let's say.
Yeah, and too forward.
Too forthcoming, yeah.
So my lesson was, I'll bring it up when it's appropriate to bring up. If she starts saying, hey, what are we exactly? We've been together for 3 months. We've been sleeping together. Are we a couple? Am I your girlfriend? You my boyfriend? That's when it's time to talk about how I want to live my life, whether it be polyamory or monogamy.
So that's where you would bring in the values and
exactly.
What have you.
Once I started having a primary, but still wanting to be in an open relationship and date, out of respect for the primary relationship, that's when it became something that I would have to bring up in the first few interactions, where I say, you know what, let's go grab a coffee. And if we're talking over coffee and I see there's a connection forming, look, there's something you got to know.
Right. And I think that's fair. I think that if you don't have any other relationships, you can wait the 4 dates, Joey. But if you're in another relationship...
A serious relationship.
Right. If you have got a primary serious relationship, they need to know. They need to know off the bat, because it wouldn't be fair. For them, it may be a non-negotiable. They're just not interested in another woman's man. Period.
There's one more thing I want to add here, Joey, and that is, if you do have a primary relationship, don't be surprised that a number of women would rather have dated you thinking that you were cheating on your primary than knowing that you're being open about it. Wow. And that's something that happened to me, where I had a primary relationship, and when I would tell the girls that I've started to get to know, by the way, just so you know, I'm not cheating on my partner here. I'm actually very open about this, and she knows everything. She knows all about us. They got more turned off by that, and they would have rather have been my mistress than my open relationship second girlfriend.
There's the unethical part of it all. Joey, thanks so much for calling. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Laurie.
All right.
Frank.
Bye-bye. 514-790-0991. How to be the ethical seducer. Yes, I know. Sounds like an oxymoron. But Frank does tell you how to do this, because that's who he is. He's a pretty upstanding, honest guy, and wants you to do this the right way, not the sleazy way, because it is creepy. Like, I think a lot of women get creeped out by guys who they feel are manipulative, and not a lot of guys don't do seduction very well. They do it creepily, really.
And I would agree with that very much. Most of the guys who study seduction are already socially awkward. That's part of the reason they're studying seduction to begin with.
Okay.
And depending on who your coach is, who your seduction coach is and whatnot, you might be learning things that make you even more creepy, that although would work with a certain type of woman, wouldn't necessarily work with a broad range of women. And this is where there's some disconnect. The guy who's going out to the clubs, who's hitting on the club hottie, who's got a major thing looking for drama and is probably drinking too much and not necessarily the most emotionally healthy woman, everything that works on her isn't necessarily what's going to work in an emotionally healthy long-term relationship with someone that you'd want to be the mother of your future kids.
And what is it about? Is it about forming a relationship or getting laid? I mean, that's,
Well,
I think that's...
Initially,
that's the question.
It's about getting some.
Right.
And not thinking about the consequences.
Dating dilemmas. That's what you're listening to. The other voice is Frank Kermit of franktalks.com, and the author of many books on the subject of dating and seduction, all that. And we'd love to hear from you, and we will right after this.
Guys, does your bachelor pad look as frightening as an Elvis convention? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do you own a twin bed and still love your Star Wars sheets? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Is the only source of artificial light in your bachelor pad the bare, dusty bulb hanging from the ceiling? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do your friends walk into your apartment and think you have been robbed? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. Do you think that minimalist means barren as the Gobi Desert? Then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. If your bathroom is home to a colony of anything, then you need the Pimping Your Pad seminar. The Pimping Your Pad seminar and telephone consultations, only available at franktalks.com.
Dating dilemmas tonight on Passion. We only get Frank once a month, so let's make good use of this this time. Actually, we're having a fascinating conversation on ethical issues in dating, and Frank has even created a whole program for you on CD, How to Be the Ethical Seducer, which we are giving away along with the 101 Great First Dates, What to Say. So you can win it too by just calling in. Hi, Sylvie. Welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, my question, I'm not exactly sure what my question is. It's just I have a friend of mine, and he's about 28 years old.
Yeah.
And within the past 10 years, he's always had 3 girlfriends.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out what his issue is, and basically I feel it's ethically wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't tell them. He doesn't. Nobody knows that he's dating 3 women at the same time. Like the other
I'm
2.
saying 3 is an average number, but sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 2, but it's never been 1. He's never been committed to 1.
Okay, and none of them know that. Do they think that he's committed to 1?
He'll say, yeah, he'll like make up reasons to where he is, and maybe they'll find out, and he'll make up a lie about it, and then he'll ditch that one and find a new one. So I just want to know what he's really thinking. You know, like where does he come off thinking that at 20 years old that he can still be doing this?
Yeah, what is he thinking? Frank, what could be going through this guy's mind? To me, that's a real snake for you, and I feel sorry for these women who think that they've, maybe got the relationship that they've dreamed of when he's busy doing other stuff.
Now, it could be a number of things going through his mind. The first thing could be a deep-rooted fear of intimacy. So by dating multiple girls at the same time, it prevents him from getting too attached to any one girl. Among my client base, there are those guys who were really into one girl, their first true love, and they got burned really bad. So as a means to create non-attachment, they date as many women as possible so that they don't even have the opportunity to get too attached to any one girl. And one of the biggest reasons why they would start dumping the women quickly is that they start feeling some sort of emotional attachment. They feel a sense of weakness. They feel a deep sense of pain. And it's not the pain that they're in currently.
It's old pain.
Exactly. It's connected to their previous pain that they never properly mourned or dealt with.
So the minute that they start to feel somewhat vulnerable is when they would move on to another relationship. And this way they keep all their doors open, never really committing to one. To me, that sounds like he should be in therapy.
Yes, that's
right.
That was my question. Is there any luck for him? Do you think he's ever going to have meet that one person that he's going to find and commit to?
If he goes into therapy. I think that if he figures out why he is the way he is and what he's doing, I mean, I can tell you over the years I've certainly helped guys, men and women actually, who have had difficulties with commitment and have questioned, have said, I don't understand myself. I keep doing this and I never can commit and I keep dating, a bunch of people at the same time. I'm not really happy and I'm not, and now I want to settle down. Like I'd like to have a family. I'd like to have somebody in my future. I just don't know how to do it. And that's when they start to question, and that's a good time for them to be in therapy.
Okay, because he will say he's happy, like I will say, like, how can you be happy? I've had the same boyfriend and we're so happy together. How can you be happy with all these 3 women? And he says, I am. It's the lifestyle I want to live.
Well, for now.
One girl's good enough for me, he'll say.
But it is unethical that they don't know about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your call, Sylvie. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now. Hi, David. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi, David.
Hi. I was listening to this show, and I'm calling because I disagree with what you guys said about it's easier for guys to get it on with these things.
It's easier for guys to date than for women?
Yes, because in my experience, the world, maybe a generation ago, people used to say the guys are the bad ones and this and that. And when I was young, I would listen to all that. But from my personal experience, what I get is, I'm sorry to say, it's been the opposite of that. I think women are tough with guys. The last girl I met, she told me after a while she was dating 5 guys.
Really?
And one of them was money smooching, borrowing money. And I had a lot of bad experiences, and I think women are really rough. Maybe the new generation is different.
Well, you know what, David? I have to say, I think if you notice a pattern where you are getting involved with women who seem that rough or troubled or treating you badly or what have you, start looking inwards. Start looking at yourself and saying, why am I even attracted to these kinds of women? What's going on with me that I am attracted to these kinds of women. I think it's really important that you do this and ask yourself the questions, and if need be, seek professional help so that you can figure this out, and then you'll see a difference in the women that you attract for sure. Thank you very much for calling. Unfortunately, we've really run out of time here. I want to congratulate Abigail. Abigail, you won 101 great first dates, what to say. And John, congratulations, how to be the ethical seducer. You will learn how to do that. So congratulations. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Frank, thanks so much. We'll catch up with you in December before the holidays again. We appreciate you always.
I love being here. I love doing this show, and I can't wait to come back.
Well, we love you. So who do we thank here? Mike Babbins, of course, in Master Control. All right, Mike, put that finger down. News is next. Then stay tuned for some great comedy with Joey Elias. Have a great rest of the evening, and please don't forget, life is short, so make sure you take the time to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Multiple Women Management, the 10 secret rules of a harem master. What are the written rules of multiple women management? How are the emotional needs of women addressed in a lifestyle that supports dating multiple women at the same time? Can love actually exist when dating many women at once? How does a man handle it when his lovers meet each other? What are the real risks of dating multiple women at the same time? Why does a man that wants multiple long-term partners need to be wary of the law? What is the Desperate Measures Act that even the most notorious player could use to get a woman to believe that he is ready for a serious long-term relationship? This program has those answers and more, including a brief overview of the difference between monogamy, polyamory, swinging, multiple women management, the 10 secret rules of a harem master. On sale now at franktalks.com.